Nowadays, high unemployment rate has been a major problem that every government is facing with. Generally, unemployment is caused by three main factors, such as inability of a country to provide enough vacancies, low educated and unskilled human resources, and the weak capacity for national capital formation. However, there are ways to alleviate unemployment, such as providing education and training for those who are unemployed, as well as fostering the spirit of entrepreneurship. Teenagers are future leader for any country, and they should have a mindset to run a business of his or her own choice. Because being employed doesn't mean that we must join an existing company. It's because the entrepreneurship in developing countries, both in the formal and informal sectors, is fundamental to creating employment, increasing production, and raising standards of living. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this course of entrepreneurship. This course will help you to dream and set the goal. There's a quote that says, dream big and keep on dreaming big. Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, dreamt that one day people would have their own personal computer. People laughed at him, and his dream is now a reality. If we dare to dream, we can turn the dream to a reality through hard work and determination. This course will make you consistent. We must do ourselves a favor by making a move right now. Don't wait for the right moment. Such thing doesn't exist. If we don't do our part of working on our goals every day, then surely nothing will be accomplished. This course will also ignite creativity that lies inside you. Seed capital always be the main problem in running a business. It doesn't matter if our seed capital isn't much enough, but it depends on our creativity. With creativity, a wreck can be turned out to be a valuable thing. Let me introduce myself. My name is Faisal Hasan Khan, and I belong to the same cabal, from the same faction as you guys are. I'm also a mechanical engineer. I was the one sitting there right in this class, but that was 19 years back. After my engineering, I did my MBA and been into corporate sector since last odd 18 years. I've been designing different machines, making machines, and I've, I've done different projects pertaining to safety, HVAC, supply chain. I've been into procurement, business development, and sales. Technical selling is something that I love most and I fancy about it. And my thing, special thing that I consider about technical sales is that I love to resolve issues. And inshallah, later in our class, in our different sessions, you'll get to know how to solve problems. This is what people expect from us, maybe from any organization. Still, you can check it at your home. Even you're doing your mechanical engineering, but you might have heard this thing, beta, fridge ठीक करा दो. Yeah, uh, there are many people who have their car broke and they ask you, यार ये तू देख लेगा भाई. But they never know. Okay, it's your final year and you need some nurturing and you need some practical exposure. After that, inshallah, you'll be king of the ring for sure. Let's see how we move forward. Anyways, after my professional education, uh, I did different jobs for different multinationals, and I was once director projects at ICCPS under Dr. Taur Ahmad. So I had different flavors of different fractions of our industrial sector, and I will try my level best to inculcate everything that I know to you. Always remember that every lecture, it will be comprised of certain things that are very valuable for both of us. First of all, every lecture should have an objective, and contents of that lecture prior to starting that lecture, it must be clear crystal to everyone. So for this specific lecture, first of all, I'll try my level best to give a very good overview regarding this course. And after that, we'll try our level best to define entrepreneurship. Then the most important question, that why engineers as an entrepreneur? Why entrepreneurship is very important for you guys, and even why you guys are studying this subject. Then the most important thing, before getting into any kind of detail and starting this course, we need to understand and have a very clear crystal view regarding business structures, acronyms that people use, businessmen use. You need to know everything, but at surface level. Depth की अभी जरूरत नहीं है. Anyways, let's move forward. Anyways, so first part of this lecture is course overview, where we will try our level best to understand what should be the learning outcomes and learning objectives behind this whole course. And last but not least, the grading method, how to get marks. This is something that you guys must be mostly concerned about. But let me tell you something. In our course, we will be studying mostly, we will be studying case studies. And these case studies shall be considered as vital lines for you guys. So, as far as books are concerned, I will let you know in my upcoming lectures which book to follow, and even I will let you know which websites you guys could go and surf out relevant stuff for you guys for your own learning. A poor man's 10-year-old son asked his father, "How can I become rich?" The man had struggled his whole life to make ends meet and did not know what to answer to his son. So he said to him, "Son, you're already a rich guy." 1 year passed by and their financial condition did not improve. The boy again asked his father, "Dad, how can I become rich?" And the father said, "Son, you're already rich." 10 years went by and they still did not become rich. But now the boy understood that his father was making him mum all these years. And he had stopped asking him the same question. Now it was time for the boy to go out and look for a job. He faced one rejection after another rejection and found it extremely difficult to get a job. He got frustrated but did not give up. On his desired job, a year later, he finally got clicked. He was very happy. His father now asked him, "Son, now do you believe you are rich?" But the son got angry and said, "Stop fooling me, Baba. I'm not a kid anymore. I know we're not rich." The father asked him, "Why you didn't give up when you could not find a job?" The son replied, "Because I was confident that sooner or later I would get a job." Finally, the father told his son, "You've always been confident since you were a child. Self confidence is the best form of wealth you can ever have. You were always rich, son. You were always rich." Every story has some learning behind it, and every course is attached with some outcomes and objectives. And there are some aims that are attached with that specific course. In this course, we will try to understand challenges involved in starting up your own business and how to overcome them lucratively. This course is designed to provide an introduction to business creation and how to nourish ideas generated by youth who are full with work, and the aims that are associated with the same are all mentioned in this slide. I just read them out. You can do the same. But main thing is we need to cater everything regarding our outcomes and objectives and must be very stringent about them. We need to be focused. If we aren't focused about the same, then we might get dragged away. So, this would be the core structure of our whole entrepreneurship course. What would be the topics to cover? I made a sub series type of stuff for you guys. It's just like Dorothy following Yellow Brick Road. Follow the yellow brick road. Similarly, this is a road map that I've drawn here. And in this road map, we will try our level best to understand basics associated with business, their jargons, the process, documentations, business plans, and will focus ourselves towards the final project that every guy and girl among you are supposed to come up with. That specific thing will depend upon this whole roadmap that I've drawn here. And inshallah, things would get changed. Trust me, they will for sure. Entrepreneurs, executives, and managers, they created and operated companies that for more than 100 years met the expanding demand for mass market products and services. These entrepreneurs, managers, and companies, they ran set the performance standard for the rest of the business world. Sadly, in your case, it is very difficult for you all to comprehend anomalous behavior when you step outside from this university. Do you know why? Because there's a huge gap between academia and the corporate world. Here in this part of world where you guys are sitting, things look very charming, gloomy, music flaunting everywhere. But way in that corporate world, this is a cynical corporate world with very tough competitors out there. You guys are into competition. And for this competition, you need to prepare yourself. You need to be well equipped and well versed with everything that corporate world expects from academia to accolade you with. Consider me as your mentor. In this course, I will try my level best to put practical examples from the corporate world so that you could know in depth knowledge about the success stories and failures. Ironically, most of us they are fond of knowing failure, but they should know why people get success, why people taste success, what is success, and how important the success is. Besides that, we will also be conducting post-mortem of all blue chips, conglomerates, SMEs, new business molecules, and will definitely try our level best to discuss sustainability factors that these institutes, these industrial factions, they carry. What makes them so different? We need to understand. And we will try our level best to know what's the success mantra for every faction in this whole industrial sector of Pakistan. Course overview is incomplete without defining grading methodology. In this section, I have added four basic elements, and these are consultation, assignments, final project, and final and midterms. Among these four, final and midterms is something which is inevitable. You can never ignore importance. Without defining grading methodology. In this section, I have added four basic elements, and these are consultation, assignments, final project, and final and midterms. Among these four, final and midterms is something which is inevitable. You can never ignore importance of finals and midterms. So whatever marks it carry, let me forcefully define you my method of giving questions. In my papers, 75% of chunk it comes from case studies, and here you will be asked to conduct a thorough post-mortem of a case study which is given, and these case studies would be discussed in our class. How to tackle these case studies, how to define them. We will try our level best to cover in our all lectures different case studies from different factions of corporate world. Besides the same, we will be having 25% marks for objectives, and these objectives will cover different jargons we discuss in our class. After that, we have consultation. Since we are studying entrepreneurship, and you guys are here, this is your final year, final semester in fact. And since last 4 years, you've studied different things. In this consultation, I'll try my level best to discuss everything that you've studied, keeping in view business element, commercial aspects of anything, of any project, of any technological architecture. It must be covered in this section. For this section, I'll ask you to make your lecture book in which you will let me know wherever you lag behind, what you want to, if there is any ambiguity, you'll ask me for clarifications. And after every lecture, I'll give you 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, you'll write down whatever you learned through that lecture. And you will submit it to me right after the class. So this single page document, it will define level of understanding you're getting through my lectures. You can also highlight topics that you couldn't understand and you want me to elaborate further over those topics. After this segment, we have assignments. We all know basic principles of any assignment. Pride and prejudice must never be diluted. And I'll ask you to conduct due diligence of different new business ventures. And finally, your final year project. Subject's final project. In this project, I'll ask you to make a business plan along with economical justification of that business plan and a pre-mortem report. I will conduct a viva, and after that viva, I'll be giving you your marks regarding this final project. Final project is crux of this entire course. Whatever we discuss in our class shall be part of this final project. We cannot ignore significance from first lecture to the last one. Every lecture is important. So this final project is divided into 4 basic steps. In first step, you need to make a business plan. Every individual shall be asked to make his idea into a business plan. I'll ask you to nurture your dream, to come up with a very good idea and put it in black and white in form of a business plan. This will cover your idea and how you will execute it. You all are supposed to give a professional name to your business idea, which must be very concise and thought-provoking. Second step is pre-mortem report. Pre-mortem report is something which 99% of entrepreneurs initially lack when they come up with any good business idea. Mostly business fails because they couldn't foresee risk associated with them. And in this section, you will identify risks and how to mitigate them. Remember, a guy who knows how to manipulate risk lucratively is considered as a business superman. So, in this section, I'll ask you to prepare a very concise and excellent pre-mortem report. As far as third step is concerned, it requires financials pertaining to this business plan you come up with. Now you have your business plan, a good pre-mortem report. So here in this viability report, you need to come up with an IRR of the project, NPVs, cash flows. You need to make these things. We all do business for monetary gains. Here you will be defining your capital, sales, and profit structure. Also, you're supposed to come up with a good cash flow. And also, you need to define timelines to achieve break even. See, in this business world, every project has a viability report. And we engineers, we are very good in making it, honestly. Anyways, last step, which is one of the most important steps, and that is post-mortem report. It is something which is a requirement, which is a prerequisite. Requirement is rather a very low grade term. It's a prerequisite for any project. Any project. You just name it, they have it. Post-mortem report is something which we prepare in order to understand where we lack and where we flourish. Through this report, you can easily understand strengths and weaknesses you have, along with opportunities and threats that it carry. So now you have your business plan, pre-mortem report, and a viability report. And this business, which is in running stage, here you will be highlighting all challenges and how to deal with them, keeping in view futuristic approach, but lucratively, which is one of the most important aspect of this final step. Stay lucrative. We all need to know where the money is. Once upon a time, there lived a very wise man. He was the mayor of a local village. Everyone respected him, and his views and opinions were well regarded. Many people call him seeking for advice. His son, however, was very lazy and wasted. He wastes his time sleeping and spending time with his friend. No amount of advice or threat made any difference to him. He would not change at all. Years passed, and with the time faded the youth of the wise man also. As he grew older, he began to worry about his son's future. He recognized that he had to give his son something so that he could take care of himself and his family to be in the future. So one day, the wise man called his son to his room and said, "My son, you are no longer a kid now. You must learn to take responsibilities and understand life. I want you to find the real purpose of life. And once you find it, remember it always, and you will lead a full life of happiness and joy forever." He then handed his son a bag, and when the son opened that bag, he was surprised to see four pair of clothes, one for each season. There also was some raw foods, grains, lentils, little money, and a map. His father continued, "I want you to go and find a treasure. I have drawn a map of that place where that specific treasure is hidden. You need to go and find it." The son left immediately. For the first time, he thought that his father had a good idea for him, and that was the greed he had, and that greed was talking with him flawlessly. So the next day, he eagerly set out on a journey to find the treasure. He had to travel really far across borders, forests, plateaus, and mountains. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Along the way, he met a lot of people. He was helped by some with food and some by shelter. He also came across robbers who tried to rob him, people who tried to cheat him. By the way, it was not Karachi. He experienced the best and the worst of humanity. Slowly, the season changed, and so did the landscapes along with it. When the weather was unpleasant, he halted for the day, and when the weather is good, he ran all the day. Finally, after a long year, he reached his destination. It was a cliff. The map showed the treasure being placed below the cliff under the tree. Upon spotting the tree, he began to dig ground. He searched and searched. He searched and searched under it, around it, over it, but found nothing. He spent 2 days looking and digging, but he couldn't find anything. On the third day, he got exhausted and decided to leave. Disappointed over his father's lie, he headed back. with all anger and hatred. On his way back, he experienced the same challenges, same landscapes that were changing. This time, however, he halted to enjoy the blooming flowers and the dancing birds in monsoon. He stayed in places only to watch sunset or to enjoy pleasant summer evenings. This time he was not in a hurry, since the supplies he carried, they were all gone with the passage of time. He now learned how to hunt. He now learned how to make arrangements for his meals. He also learned how to sew his clothes and find shelter for himself. He was now able to determine the hour of the day by position of the sun and plan his journey accordingly. He also learned how to protect himself with wild animals. He met same people who had helped him earlier, but this time he stayed a few days with them, helped them in some or other way just to repay them. He realized how nice they were to an ordinary passerby who had nothing to offer them in return. When he reached home, he realized it had been 2 years since he left the place. He walked straight into his father's room and said, "Father," and father jumped and hugged his son. "So how was your journey, my son?" his father asked. "Did you find treasure?" "The journey was fascinating, father," boy replied. "But forgive me, for I wasn't able to find anything. Maybe someone took it before I reached." He surprised himself by what he said. He couldn't control whatever comes out of his mouth. And this time he wasn't angry. Instead, he was asking for forgiveness. Seriously, there wasn't any treasure in the first place, my son, the father answered smilingly. "But why did you send me to find it?" Boy replied. "I will surely tell you why, but first you tell me, how was your journey to that place? Did you enjoy it?" Boy's father replied with curiosity and a smile over his face. Boy replied, "Of course, I loved it. Maybe someone else found the treasure before I did. I was in a hurry to reach the cliff, but I did enjoy the journey on the way back home. I made many friends and witnessed miracles every day. I learned so many different skills and the art of survival. There was so much I learned that it made me forget the pain of not finding the treasure." "Exactly, my son. I want you to lead your life with a goal. But if you remain too focused on the goal, then you will miss out the real world. The truth is, life is no goal at all, other than to just experience it. and grow with every single day. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste the experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. This is a lesson that was taught to that boy by his father. And when we see this course roadmap, you can easily understand how good boy could you be if you start journey from first lecture to the last. You can easily catch up with concepts of business. You can easily grow your vision, your approach, your foresightedness, and you can easily comprehend research research works. I want you guys to understand how important is brainstorming session for any company. And inshallah, we'll try our level best to cover brainstorming sessions in our class with the help of the case studies that we will be solving in our class. And we will try our level best to grow our analytical skills. And with the help of those skills, we'll try to formulate strategies. Strategies which will help to develop and to play with risks associated with our whole project. This is our roadmap.